Self-defense tips that could save your life. These 3 principles of self-defense could save your life if you follow principles over techniques. And we'll talk about the difference in just a minute. The first principle is always going to be situational awareness. When we talk self-defense, we're talking about pay attention to what's happening as it's happening. Pay attention as it's happening. What's around you? Where are potential threats? Who should you be aware of that you maybe didn't see when you first got out of your car, or you came out of the apartment, you came out of the house? So the first thing I want you to do is pay attention to your surroundings. Situational awareness. Put your phone in a pocket, put it in a bag. If you have to stop and look at your phone while you're outside walking down the street, put your back up against a wall, or make sure you're in a clear area. Pick it up and hold it in front of your face so that your eyes will pick up the periphery around you. You want to see what's around you, see the threat before it becomes a threat, before it gets so close that it can hurt you. So if you pay attention to what's happening as it's happening, situational awareness, you are following the first self-defense principle that could save your life. Now, principles are big pieces of strategy that are not necessarily technique. Techniques are strikes, punches, palm strikes, elbows, knees, using your head to headbutt. All of those are different techniques, and they all have great value. And if you like working on self-defense is important to you, being your own first responder is important to you, please give me a thumbs up, because that helps this channel grow. Hello, Patrick. It's good to see you. So number 1, situational awareness. It's the first thing I want you to pay attention to, the first principle of self-defense. Whether you're using a weapon for self-defense, using a self-defense tool that you might carry concealed on your body, or you're just protecting yourself with your hands and your feet and your brain. Good afternoon, Matthew. It's nice to see you. Situational awareness is number 1. Number 2 is getting into a better position. When you are out and you see the threat, hopefully you see it a little bit in advance. He's coming up on you, or there's maybe a group of people. I want you to put your hands up between you and the threat. You're going to create this shield. This is called the flinch block. This is something that you do to stop them from getting too close. Hello, Daniel. It's good to see you. Your hands are here and open. The reason they're open is so that everyone around you sees that you are not the aggressor. You're not the attacker. We're talking self-defense, not street fight. We're talking self-defense, not a bar fight, not an after-school fight. You want to stop the fight. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't want to have to hit somebody or hurt somebody in a self-defense situation, even if you're not at fault, because you don't want all of the consequences that come with that. You will, if you have to, you will defend yourself. Good afternoon, Gary. Jerry. Good afternoon, Jerry. It's good to see you. But you want to have your hands up and open, and they should have a bend in them. This is too straight. You're not trying to push him back, although you will keep him back. You don't want to push him back. Your arms are too straight. You're open here. You're open over the top. Think about a shield in front of your body. A nice guard. The hands are in. You're also going to interrupt his line of sight. Your hands go between you and him, making him think before he throws another punch or he comes any closer. Your hands are up. You give a verbal command. Stay back, back up, get away from me. But you want to be in this position. And notice that your hands are as high as your face, not under your face. You're not going to block here and come up. Thank you, Daniel, for that generous donation. That helps a lot, especially right now. I've got the guy outside doing the brakes on the car. Down here, they come to your work, and they do the mobile mechanic. So you couldn't be more timely. I really appreciate that. That really helps. We took the kids to the dentist yesterday. We had a couple cavities, so it's just been a funny week with lots of extra costs. So your generous donation is very meaningful to me, so thank you. Anyway, your hands are up. It's between you and him. You have this bend in your elbow. This creates what's called a tendon lock. That means that your arms are not going to collapse because your tendons are stronger than your muscles, and your tendons will lock the bones in place, creating almost like a bumper effect on a car. So if he does hit you or come forward, your whole body will move back. Your hands are not going to collapse. If your elbows are bent too much, you're going to hit yourself in the face. You don't want to do that. You want your hands up here and open. They come any closer, you're going to move forward and into the attack. And then from here, this is not a principle, this is a technique. You can take your elbow, drive it into the side of his jaw for self-defense, into the temple for self-defense, into that fleshy part of the neck, knock him out. Maybe he's taller and you're driving that elbow into the ribs, breaking that last floating rib, puncturing the lung. He's coughing up blood. It's hard for him to attack you if he can't catch his breath. Or maybe you take that elbow and drive it up straight in to his solar plexus or up into his throat or up under his chin, striking hard for self-defense. But this position here gives you a lot of options. If he goes to tackle you and take you down, you simply lower the angle and you're still in a good protected position. You can step back, you can drive a knee, you'll instinctively do a lot of things that you need to do to stop from getting taken to the ground. Yeah, Patrick says hello to all. Now, from this position in the flinch block, you also have your knees that you can bring forward, driving in. You have the elbow that you can pick up and drive, dropping it straight down on his temple or into his jaw, into the top of his neck, pushing him back, all for self-defense. Those are techniques, but the principle itself is get into what's called a flinch block. The reason it's called a flinch block is because when you naturally flinch, you're gonna go back and you're gonna go under or behind your hands. The punch is coming here, a big haymaker, or the guy's swinging his arm at you, you'll block. He might hit you, but it's going to be a glancing blow. You're not gonna take it full force right on the chin. You'd rather have him come in and hit your bony arms and not your face. If there's a bladed weapon, if he pulls out one of these and he's coming in to slash or he's coming to stab, coming down, coming any of those directions, you want to come here and put your hands here, moving forward. If you back up, that's the worst thing you can do because he'll just come straight through that full slash. That's if he's already close. And obviously, if you can run, you should run. And if you have one of these self-defense tools, use that, right? I'm not saying that this beats any of those things. This is what to do if it's life or death. He's on top of you. All of a sudden, you see that blade come out. Your hands are already in this position because this is the second principle of self-defense, get in a better position. And then immediately put your helmet on and drive this elbow in to the face. Bringing that into the face, bringing this one across to the jaw, or into the temple, knock him unconscious, knock him out, hit him as hard and as fast and as many times as you can. Close with and destroy, violence of action. Those are all principles of self-defense. Those are bonuses, by the way. And number two is this better position. But if that knife comes out, don't hesitate. Don't back up if he's this close, right? If he has the knife and trying to stay in camera, you're way back here, run, right? And hopefully you can still run or hobble fast. Sometimes my hip is hurting, I gotta hobble fast, but do what you can to get out of there if that weapon comes out. And like I said, because I got these comments a lot recently where people said, well, you're gonna do that, you should just have one of these. And I say, well, that's great, but you can't take this everywhere, and you don't always have it. And even though situational awareness is number one, and hopefully you see it before it gets there, you don't always see it. Now you're blindsided by an attack. Maybe you're coming around a corner and he's waiting on the corner. There's a good way to go around the corner. You move as far away as you can so that you can see it first, but maybe that can't happen. Maybe you are in a non-permissive environment. Oh, hey, Zulu Alpha Charlie, it's good to see you. But maybe, you're in a bank, you're at you're in a kid's school. You can't take one of these into a kid's school. It's not legally. You get caught, you no longer have your CCW. They take that away from you and put you in jail. If you go into these places where it's posted on the door, you can't bring it in. So yes, this is superior to a weapon if you know how to use it. If you've trained over and over and over, if you've trained on how to use it, and you've trained on how to keep someone from taking it away from you, and you know what to do if you run out of the things that go in it. Yeah, the ASP baton, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that, Daniel, thank you. But the basic idea is if it comes out and you don't have one of these, you don't have access to anything else, it's just you and him and he's this close, go in, don't back up. This is already out. You're probably gonna get cut. You're gonna get stabbed once or twice, but not 48 times. Instead, hopefully this comes straight in. You drive this into the face. If you drive your elbow with your whole body weight behind it into someone's nose and face, their body will go like this. So if this weapon is coming here, and this is the most common attack with one of these. This angle slice is number one. This is because it's instinctive. This is what most people do. People who've been in the penitentiary and have made their own shiv and learned how to do all these different stuff, they're very dangerous. Hopefully you'll never come across somebody like that. But what I'm saying is, you get just a mentally ill person who is out on the streets of one of these big cities, who is going around hurting people right now, who is slashing, attacking with this, or a machete, or a hatchet, because you keep seeing those in the news lately. Then, if they come up on you, you weren't paying attention for whatever reason, maybe you broke that first rule and you're doing one of these, walking down the street, all of a sudden, you see that arm swinging, bring this straight in, stick the elbow in through his face. Hopefully you hit him so hard here, his nose breaks as it's coming out the back of his head for self-defense. If he pulls one of these on you, he doesn't mean to just intimidate and scare you. His goal is to take your life. So maybe you take out his ability to breathe through his nose and through his mouth or his throat, or you bring it into here, his ability to stand up. And then while you're there, you strike. If this elbow's going into his face, his body will go back, and as his body's going back, all the power is coming out of that slash. If it does hit, it'll be a glancing blow. It's not gonna be bad as if he has full power. Is there a technique when somebody has you on your back on the ground? Yes. The best thing you can do is roll. You have to roll and turn yourself and face them. You don't wanna leave. If you're down here and they're choking or trying to bash your head on the ground, if you can turn and face them. And there are many techniques that I teach here in person on how to, all those different scenarios. What happens if you get, and a lot of them will start with, he hits you in the head, you're seeing stars, you fall into the ground, you can't catch your breath, blood's coming out of your nose, and then he's coming down on top. Now what do? And we have to train that. We train that and train that and train that, because those are scenarios, but it all comes back to the principle. The technique isn't as important. The principle is if you're on the ground, get off the ground, if you can. How do we get off the ground? That's where we practice technique. There are a lot of different great techniques from jiu-jitsu, especially Brazilian jiu-jitsu, from traditional self-defense, how to push yourself. There's shrimping, there's rolling the person off of you. But if you find yourself face down, you want to try to roll and get them off of you really quickly. Bobby East, NASCAR driver. Yeah, I saw that. Awful. And yeah, it was a NASCAR driver. I think he was a sport truck driver, and he got stabbed to death by a criminal who had been paroled, and they were looking for this guy to pick him up because he had violated his parole. They knew he was minutes away from hurting somebody, and he took his life using one of these. And it's just at a gas station. And I keep saying this. So this is, going back to number one, situational awareness. When I go to the gas station now, I always have with me, I want to show you this. Yeah, Patrick says bear hug. I got my thing here on an angle, there we go. But I carry this in my car. And this is a self-defense. It's made by Cane Masters. This is my personal design. I didn't design it, but this is the one that we call the quantum self-defense stick. Cane, right? Yeah. I'm reading all these great comments. Sorry, getting distracted. I'll try to stay on task. But with this, I have this on the passenger side. I have to stop and get gas. And my wife texted me just a couple days ago. She said, "Hey, I'm gonna stop by and pick up the kids before I go home from here, because I have the kids during the day." She said, "But I have to stop and get gas first." I said, "Where are you getting gas?" She said, "On such and such street." I said, "Don't stop there. I just got an alert on my phone that there was a shooting there like minutes ago." And I mean, it's happening like this. People are so stressed out. There are a lot of very desperate, angry, frustrated people. Sometimes it's somebody who concealed carry and they lose their mind. Somebody, it's just a criminal. Sometimes, I mean, it's all kinds of reasons. So you really, really, really have to, if you follow number one, if you follow the first principle of self-defense that could save your life, which is situational awareness, that will help so much. Before you get out of the car, look and see. I was at the bank that I go to. I had to get cash out of the ATM. I am sitting in my truck. I see out of the rear view mirror a guy across the street. I go to open my door. I see him crossing straight toward me. I close the door and I leave and I don't know what it is. Is he, yeah, stay frosty. Is he coming over just to beg for money, to ask for money? Whatever he's doing, it's while I'm at the ATM pulling money out. It's not gonna be good for me, right? It may have just been a weird coincidence. 2 days later, same ATM, a guy gets robbed. Same guy, the guy that I had seen is the guy that they picked up later, and he was waiting for someone to rob. So you have to pay attention, especially now. Think we're in a cycle, we're in a down cycle in the world of craziness, of stress, of frustration, and it'll get better. So don't hide under a rock, but listen to the alarm bells. It's like if you hear the fire alarm going off in your house or your apartment building or your office building, get up and get out. Don't sit there and think, oh, well, it's all over. The fire's going, the fire's gonna get me, right? No, you get up, you go out, you call the fire department, you see who else you can get out of there. You pay attention to the alarms, to what's happening. So looking around us now, we see that we're in a period and a time of stress. So that's why I carry this gray man self-defense tool. I can use this, bring that up quick between the legs, thrust into the face, bring it down here. You can use it sort of as a sword. There's a lot of very powerful techniques that you can do this kind of stuff with, or use this self-defense cane by Cane Masters. I was thinking of. I also always have these things because I teach people how to fight with sticks. And again, I'll get a lot of comments. Well, I wouldn't take a stick to a gunfight. Don't take a stick to a knife fight. And I'm saying that's not the point. I don't carry the stick. I train with a stick so that I can pick up one of these and then roll it up super tightly. And then you have an improvised stick. And if I don't have any other choice, and I'm sitting there and I see the threat coming, and I have time to do this, now I can thrust this way, I can bring it in here, I can bring the back of it in, down on top of his head, into the throat, across the body, into those ribs. And this is very effective as a self-defense tool because this becomes an improvised stick. And it's just a cheap throwaway surfing magazine that they have everywhere down here. And if I don't have anything but my hands and my flesh and my fingers that will come off of my hand, I don't want to try to take one of these away or parry or block these or even try to control this hand. If I have an option to have something like this and that knife comes out and I've had a second to roll it up, I'm going to drive this elbow, hopefully smash him in his face, bring this around as fast as I can 2 or 3 times as a force multiplier. And it's just a simple magazine, but because you train yourself, you practice with a stick, you know how to fight with one of those. All right, so number 3, for review, number 1, situational awareness. It's probably the most important one. It's when I teach and I bring law enforcement, police officers in, or I go on television. In Ohio, I used to go on television every 2 weeks, talk about self-defense on a local TV news show. Every time I would go on, I would either bring on a detective or I would talk to one of them before I went on, hey, I'm going on tomorrow, any tips? Yes, situational awareness, every time. Tell them about situational awareness, tell people, because they're watching all these security cameras when they go through and they watch an assault happen after it's happened, because they're putting together a case to arrest somebody. They see that the person who was attacked could have avoided it 99% of the time if they had just seen that weird guy acting strange in the corner. One of my the most disturbing videos I saw from last year in New York City, right, with all of the revolving door policies of criminals there, a criminally insane guy with a hatchet, like you'd chop down some firewood to make your summer campfire, walks into an ATM enclosure. There's a guy in there not paying attention. He doesn't look up. He's just feeding his card into the machine, poking the buttons. He could have seen a crazy man with an axe and done something about it, but he just ignores it. He doesn't want anybody else to be there. He's got his earbuds in. And the guy walks up, looks around, pauses for a second, and runs up, starts chopping this guy down like a big chunk of wood, right? Trying to chop the guy down like guys turn backs like this, just slices them all up. Now, my point of telling you that horrible story, because that's just one of many, is that if he had paid attention, he could have taken some action. So pay attention. That's the first of the 3 things that you could do, the principles of self-defense that could save your life. Situational awareness. Number 2, get the hands up between you and the threat. Get in this position. It's called the flinch block. Close distance as soon as you can. Drive elbows when you can. And then number 3, ask yourself, what can I remove or destroy? And the question, the power of the question is it's so profound in self-defense. When you say to yourself, on this person. You're in this position, hey, butt back up. You don't know what he's got. You know he's a threat. You know that you have to defend yourself immediately. You take a quick breath. That's just to calm yourself just a little bit, get a little oxygen in there, see the bigger picture, and you say, what could I remove or destroy on him? His ability to see temporarily or permanently, his ability to breathe temporarily or permanently, his ability to hear or his inner ear. You know, when you box somebody's ears, that's a technique, box his ears, and that force of air goes in and pops his eardrums. He loses his equilibrium. It's like getting vertigo. He can't stand up very well. And it hurts like hell. Bringing that forward, right? Smashing the ears. Maybe it's an elbow using your forearm, just coming straight into the throat. And because you don't have any other choice. You saw that weapon come out, you drive that elbow, drive the knee. But you have to ask yourself that question because that will tell you what technique you're going to use. Techniques are not as important as the principle. The principle is the strategy. The technique is the tactic. Coming back to military and war, strategies will win the war. Tactics will only get you that battle. You only win one little battle or one little firefight. But if you have a strategy for how it all fits together, number one, situational awareness. Number two, put yourself in a better position, step back. I like to step in because I'm always looking for ways to close the distance. And I want to give you a real quick tip. If you're trying to diffuse a situation and you don't want to fight, and you don't ever want to fight if you don't have to, that's something that you should remember. Because again, you don't want to hurt him. You don't want to kill somebody, take someone's life for self-defense if you don't have to, right? You don't want to put someone in the hospital. You don't want the legal ramifications of all that. You don't want to go to jail. You don't want to get sued in civil court. So if you can avoid it by all means. We're talking about when you have no other choice. But let's say someone's sizing you up and they're closing the distance They're building in here. They have a mental pattern that they're going through that is going to get them to the point where they push the trigger mentally to attack you or push you back so far and cower you that they can do whatever else they want to you, take away your stuff, take away your money. But whatever they're doing with it, when they're coming forward and there's somebody and they're starting to come forward, they're talking themselves into hitting you, into hurting you, into taking your life, then your hands are up in this better position. I want you to try stepping to the side. Step out of their line of sight. If you don't drop your hands. Keep them up. I dropped my hands, that was a mistake. Keep your hands up, step to the side. When you step to the side, you interrupt their pattern. When you interrupt someone's pattern, they have to think. Anytime you ask him a question, hey, how can I help you? What are you looking for? What do you want from me? When you ask them a question, you make them think. They have to think. That interrupts a pattern. So do those pattern interrupts when you can. One of the best ones is just step off at an angle, change the position. If he's here, he now has to change his position to orient on you in a new way. When he does that, he has to make a decision and re-engage with his decision to try to hurt you and work his way back up. A lot of times, just stepping off that angle will interrupt the pattern enough that a lot of creeps will go away. So try that if you have to. But your hands are up and open. That's the second one. The third one is, what can I remove or destroy? His ability to breathe, see, think, be awake. If you can drive the elbow so hard and fast into the temple here or the jaw, I saw this. It happened so fast. It was a self-defense situation times 10. It was a big man pushing on a little man. He didn't know about the little man. Don't mess with the quiet little guys. A lot of people make that mistake. They think that size means they can fight. They can't, not all the time. They think muscles mean you hit hard and no, not at all, not always. But they get used to intimidating people with their size and their anger and their loudness. And this little quiet man who had a nose that looked like this, there's a reason his nose looked like that, because he had been a professional fighter in the Soviet Union back in the day. And he was special forces in the Soviet army. This guy picked on the wrong guy, and he was just trying to keep us cool. And he had been telling him over and over, leave me alone, leave me alone. Yeah, impair his operating system, Matthew says. And perfect music, I love it. And he said, back up. And he put his hands up like this. And the guy went to put his hand on him, and he said, and I remember him saying, like, what are you gonna do? And as he does that, the man's elbow, the shorter man, because he had to reach, He was a good foot shorter. Straight up, as fast as lightning. And his jaw, and it was like a Rocky movie. His face went that way, the blood came out the side of his mouth, blood and spit, and his jaw came back, and it never looked right again. And he fell to the ground, screaming in pain and rolling around. And that was the last we saw of him. The ambulance came and took him away, and he never came back. This was on a job that I worked, and we were getting ready to go out. And this little guy, I mean, he could take care of himself. That's the whole point, is that if you, and he probably in his head said, I'm gonna hit this guy in the jaw if he touches me, because I have every right to defend myself. He can't continue, come forward and put his hands on me and try to hurt me. I will defend and he told him several times, look, I will defend myself, back up, don't touch me. The point is, immediate, direct, explosive, close with and destroy, violence of action, all these principles of self-defense will work for you, and then you can think about techniques later. I get asked the question all the time to talk about vital spots. Great question, right? Eyes, nose, mouth, throat. This could be fatal, so be careful with that. If it's not a life or death situation, you don't go in for someone's throat, because if you collapse their windpipe and it only takes about 12 pounds of pressure, and this is why this works for self-defense. It's not martial arts, it's not street fighting, it's not bully self-defense. This is life or death self-defense. You can crush someone's windpipe, he can crush yours. His hands are here on your throat. You stick your thumb into his throat. Move him back, use your thumb, right? Just like that. You can reach through. But think about moving forward. It's counterintuitive. Almost everybody backs up in a self-defense situation. If you can overcome that and move forward, yeah, Jeffrey says, take that magazine, stick it right in the groin. That can change a lot of things. So we're talking about vital spots, ears, the neck, the throat. We said the whole face, right? The temple especially. Now think about the ribs. Anything on the center line is going to be a vital spot. So the sternum, this chest bone, that's not going to be very effective to hit that for self-defense. But you come under that, right into, you can hear it, the diaphragm. If you've ever done any kind of acting or singing, they push on this, or you have a little baby, and you push on that. That's knocking his wind out. You put that into a spasm. If you've ever had your wind knocked out of you, you know how that feels. You can't catch your breath. You think you're going to die. These last two ribs on each side, they're called floating ribs because they don't attach like the other ones do. They detach easier with, you can take your hand, if you decide you're going for that rib, and you can turn shoulders and hips. You want power? Turn your shoulders and hips. Just an open hand with that palm, the heel of that palm right into there, or even a fist coming in here, or using this part, or think about taking this part of the arm, coming through the clothesline, right into his neck. That'll drop a lot of people. Or that old karate chop. It seems like a phony movie thing, but it's not. You bring this, because it's your hard, bony arm, and you bring that into that fleshy part of the neck, and it hits that process of nerves in there, and then it flushes all the blood out of his brain. He drops like a sack of crap that he is, the criminal, the bad guy, right? But there are a lot of basic techniques that you can do, and a lot of them are instinctive, right? That knee to the groin, that might be the best thing to do in that moment, but you have to ask the question before you do it. Take the breath, what can I remove or destroy? And then you go for it. Vital spots, after you exhaust all the center line of the body, you're gonna think of the joints, right? Joints break easier than bones. So you have wrist, elbow, shoulder, the hips, of course, knees, the feet. Stomping, especially if you're wearing a hard-soled shoe, stomping on the top of someone's foot is very effective. You can easily break the bones in that foot, smashing his toes, stepping. If you can get right into where the ankle and the lower leg come together, that's a great place to stomp and put all your body weight. And maybe he's so high in your face and he's trying to hit you and he's choking on you. Maybe just stomping down there and then driving that elbow is the best solution. But you'll understand, you'll know instinctively what to do when you ask yourself the question, what can you remove or destroy? And then, like I said, after that, everything kind of falls into close with and destroy. That means get in, violence of action. Fight's not over till you win, over and over and over. Strike until you get out of there and you're free. And again, this is not street fight, not school fight, not bully, self-defense. This is life or death. This is when you have to defend yourself. And you want to be able to still leave your house and not feel like you have to go into turtle mode and hide under the bed, because every time we turn on the news, and they lie to us all the time anyway, so half the stories are lies, right? But the ones that get through that scare us the most are these violent attacks by strangers. And so do what it takes to train yourself in some basic techniques. A couple punches and a step to the side. A couple punches and step to the side. Just practice that, right? Do that every day. Drop your chin, 2 punches and move. If you want to, you can practice with palm strikes to protect your knuckles. You can practice with elbows, but just moving laterally, moving side to side, which we don't often do during the day, that gives you better footwork, allows you to have more mobility, more flexibility, move quicker, think quicker. When your mind is flexible, your body's flexible. So start to think outside the box and think about what other techniques are simple that you could use. Straight punches, palm strikes, anything that comes from me to you would be the best, right? That closest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So use that. All those vague platitudes, there's a reason that they are effective. That is a very effective thing. But then ask yourself, what can you remove it